How to become better at chess. Can it be easy? That's a question I have asked myself a lot, having played chess for 40 years in a chess club, being rated for 40 years. I'm really and at the moment I'm just trying not to worsen or get to become a bad player, as it seems like it's just heading downhill slowly but securely. Anyway, we're gonna talk a little bit about how to train chess. How do you think? And I would like some comments in the commentary fields on YouTube. And how would you think you improve best? Is it by making exercises like solving a lot of puzzles, going through master games, being coached by a grandmaster, international master, or some other player? Have you thought about it? How did you become good at what you else are doing, what you're doing in your job or at school or in your free time, as a leisure or hobby, whatever? How did you train to become good at that? I've been a professional poker player. I am now a marketing specialist, and the only thing that ever worked for me was really a lot of hard work and just reading, studying, and applying, reading, studying, applying, and so on. Anyway, we're trying to improve GM Talks and would like some feedback. We'll like to post more videos, and hopefully we'll get some sort of investor coming in, and then we will do something more. So, like, how could you get the most out of it? What should we do to make these videos the best they can be? What else should there be? Should there be like online training courses? Should there be more like the masterclass of the Carlsbad, and so on? It could also be like something like a wild idea, like you could rent a grandmaster to prepare you for a game in the opening, like 2 hours or something. That would probably be pretty cool for some players to get. Anyway, leave me a comment, and we will look into it, because we are in the thinking box. And also, can chess be easy? Like earlier we had a video with the Fischer Endgame, and we're gonna look a little bit at that again, because it's one of the things I find really difficult. In a practical game, it's really, really difficult, because you need to understand what you're doing. You need to make these like 3-point maneuvers like you do with a car, with your king, and you need to have patience, and you need to use zugzwang, and you have to trust that it's winning even though it looks like it's a fortress, and so on. Anyway, the Fischer Endgame is where the bishop is better than the knight, and we're gonna see the game Wesley So versus Levon Aronian from the Singlefeld Cup. It was a titanic battle, and it was very instructive, and I think it's not easy. It's not easy to get this, but going through like examples like this will definitely improve your chess, and if at some point you just get it, you will become much better. Anyway, this is just another Berlin. It's like, don't they have anything else to do? Can this really? But the problem is, it's not so much fun for black anymore, because white never loses the way he used to, and it's just like, okay, what does white have? Is it dangerous? And I kind of remember my line as black. Then I will get a draw, and otherwise I will have to suffer, like in this game. So they're playing a lot of move pretty fast. This is all theory. Rook e1 is what really takes the fun out of the Berlin. There's no ending with the bishop pair here. It's just a symmetrical, boring position where white has a slight initiative. Nothing, and if you play well, you will just neutralize it, and that's it. This is all played before, like a million times. d4, rook e1, and bishop f4 is what they're doing right now. Just trying to sacrifice something and get an attack going. I really hate when people do like this in these situations here. And of course you could take on d4, and then comes the knight out, and white will get initiative. And if you know your lines, probably you're okay, but he'll probably have prepared something from the cloud or whatever. So he just goes back and plays, and then he takes it. And this is all theory, and this is all theory, and it looks like this has already been prepared a lot. By the way, this Wesley So guy is pretty good at preparing. You can't take on f4 because of queen e7. So if you do like this, then comes this, and it's mate next move. So with the back rank, so you probably have to do something else. And of course he did. He took back, and queen e4 hitting. It's a nice move, right? Oops, we should make that another color, and hitting that one as well. So that was annoying. And black decides to go for an ending here. Also, the rook here is opened, and this looks like it's a little bit unpleasant, and especially unpleasant when the opponent prepared it. And d5, and rook takes, and rook c7, very, 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 and the big problem, queen e4, e5. I really like this because it forces this move, and this is the ending we are looking into. So what's going on here? Well, white will get this pawn, so we'll just see, and here we are. Okay, so what do you think of this ending? Well, it looks like it's probably draws, but it also looks like something you can actually lose as black. It's somehow clear that the bishop is better than the knight in this position. One rule of thumb here is, and this is where, can chess be easy? Yes, it can be a little bit easy, because even though black will be able to put all his pawns on black, so the bishop here will not be able to attack anything on black. So, but it can take away squares, and there are pawns on both sides of the board. So pawns on the both sides of the board means that the long-range bishop will have an advantage, and one thing that's definitely not to black's advantage is that his pawns here has been separated, so he has two isolated pawns, which gives the bishop more place to stay. If like they were sitting together, like on if this pawn was here, I'm sure it would probably be relatively easy draw, because you just mirror the king with your king, and probably white will not be able to penetrate in any sensible way, and at the same time this knight will always be able to attack something, because it can move wherever it likes. It just takes more time than the bishop. But in this situation, for instance, this square will never be attacked by a pawn, and that is a problem for black. So white is clearly better. This is a typical Fischer ending, and we will see this where triangulation, which I call like when you're turning with your car, and already here, and we have. And black's pawns are now not attackable. The thing is, black will not be able to keep the king here and the knight here for a long time. At the moment, this is like a razor blade. It's like a laser cutting through the position. So black cannot use this square for the king, so he will get into zugzwang. H4, moving the pawn forward. Of course, you don't want to play H5, that will just create a target. Knight F6, King D5, threatening to go this way, and already we have some problems. Knight D6, attacking the bishop, has to go, keeping this. So we see that the king and the knight again, one of them have to move, and it will be the knight, and the bishop goes here and go to the other side. So it was not important to have this square, and he will play and he played f6, which was a bit surprising. I thought he would play king d7, it doesn't change much. Black will always end up in allowing the king either to go to this square or to this square. So white is simply has to be careful, and that's very difficult to be. It's very difficult to maneuver these things. Anyway, and here black already decided to use his extra tempo. He would have to play that anyway. Still, there are a lot of places where the king can enter, and here again you would think he would play king d7, but it's not really important. And here it comes. And knight goes back, bishop goes somewhere. It's not. The thing is, you're just waiting for something to happen. Either the king can also go this way, and here, and of course it's, well, and bishop goes back. And notice how careful here he is not to allow any kind of counterplay. The bishop is constantly taking away the squares from the knight here, so it cannot attack anything. It would like to attack the loose pawns somewhere. It's not so easy. And here again, and this is where it's very, very typical trick you will fall for in blitz, where the knight comes here, check, and even though it's probably dangerous with the a pawn, still it was not what you wanted. So you have to be patient, and that's difficult. So instead, white just played a3 and went here, and now he walks. And the king minor, and this is the thing, is even though he won a pawn, it's not completely easy, because now the zugzwang is totally over, and the knight will try to get some counterplay going, and you have to dislodge the king, and of course, as still the bishop has the potential to dominate the knight. For instance, if it was white to move, now he played bishop d5, and black could resign because the knight is finished on d8. So he has to move out fast. c4. Notice an important point is when you're leaving weak pawns, it's often a good idea to have it like this. So, because it takes a long 3 moves for the knight to ever attack this pawn here. It has to go something like, it could be something like this, and this to attack the pawn, and that's a long time, right? But it will try, and take, and take, and still you're a little bit afraid, of course, that somehow black will be able. You have to be very careful what you do here. For instance, in this situation, this is a typical point where I have to get my king back, and you rush into that one, and it will be a check, and you will, well, maybe kill yourself. I don't know. King a5, attack something. King is back, and there's no checks, and we see that the black king is kept out of the game. So you just have to control that knight, and he's very happy to go to this square always, because again it's this range from the knight that you are looking for, and again. And okay, you have to do something to get going. So, and again, we see this the weakness is left on a square that's far away from the knight, and bishop f3. But now there's another pawn. And we see this is a nice little trick. This domination thing is important. So notice that here he's setting a trap. If you take here, white will go bishop e4, and black can resign. This bishop is dominating the poor knight, which is a typical theme in the Fischer ending. So please notice, whenever this is possible, it's almost always good. Dominate the knight. But of course, he just goes back, check, and not so easy, right? And if you go to e4, well, you're afraid that he will get, for instance, then he will go here, or maybe, or he'll go to g6. I don't know. You always have probably g6 actually. So g6, knight g6 gives some chances here, and again, it's annoying. And also you don't want to risk like something like this, because then black plays here, and suddenly, out of the blue, it's the black knight that controls everything with the pawns here, and probably you're fine here. Maybe it's winning, maybe it's not, but it's the kind of thing you don't want. So patient. King e4, knight d6, king d5, and bishop e4. Okay, so he's forcing the knight away. The knight goes here. Again, this looks like a nice place. The problem is the bishop is dominating the knight, so you might run into zugzwang. And here he goes to the other side. And now what? One more time. Okay, so we have... and did you notice this maneuver? Okay, I'm just going to show you again. So pay attention. Pay attention. He went here, then he went here, then he went here, then he went here, and now it's black to move. And if he goes here, what do? We move forward. So that's the trick with the triangulation. Okay. So he moves the knight, and we push the pawn forward. And apparently this is winning, and we push the other pawn forward. And now it's clear what we want to do. Either we would like to get the king here, or we would like to get the king to this square and start eating the pawns here. Knight goes back, only a sensible move. Could go to d8, looks horrible, but it doesn't change much. And here, and again, and back. And we see this, and he probably calculated this very well. If, for instance, this now, then king here, and the king enters and wins. I think it just wins to go down to e6 no matter what. Yes, it does. So, but this, of course, is where black is hoping. And notice another thing of this ending is this bishop is in the wrong corner, right? So if there was only an h-pawn left, then it would be a draw. If we managed to... So, for instance, we say these guys go... Then black will start to try and get his king to h8, and he will take this pawn, and it will be a draw. This is a well-known draw. So, what do white do here? Well, and this is a big advantage of having a bishop, long-range piece. And notice, it looks so nice, this ending for white, and it turned out it was not so easy, right? You had to play really well to win it. And a6, and here's another rule of thumb. Distant pass pawns, especially on the end of the board, are a problem for a knight because it has short legs. So it does not like these pawns going there. It's like it's get cramped for the knight. It likes to be in the center. And now the knight cannot move except to h8. And a nice little feature here is the bishop is controlling some of the way of the pawns, and it's covering the pawn here, which is the guy who's going to win the day if we win the knight for the h-pawn. Okay, so g4, natural move, king d5. So what happens here? Some like this. What is going on here? And it could be something like this. And here we use the fact that this king is still covering this, so we can attack the pawns. And after this, it's all over. We just go back, and they're under control, and the king will enter. You just put the knight. You just remember, just put the bishop here and walk with the king to this square, right? And it will win. Basically, king d5, he played g3 and bishop h1, and black resigned. There's nothing to do here. The king will enter. The bishop is controlling and defending this pawn. Very, very nice example, but also, to be honest, a really good example that this is not easy. It's not easy to win this. By the way, you have to be a little bit careful here that you don't play king e6 too early and allow this move, which would be very, very annoying. So you have to just play back and forward. So what could a typical example be? Like, for instance, if he plays this move, I think you just go here, right, and here, and king e6, and it's winning, right? So, and it can also, the king can always switch to another place here if it wants to. Anyway, I hope you will leave some comments in the commentary fields, just to think about how should chess be. What is it that you would like? How can you improve? How can I help you improve? This is the big question. This was GM Talks. Thank you for watching. I am Grandmaster Sune Berg Hansen, and